A friendship built on dreams. Jasmine Reed had always believed that some people were simply meant to be in your life. For her, Noah Bennett was one of those people. They had met 6 years ago when she joined his tech startup as a junior marketing coordinator. Fresh out of college with big dreams and zero experience, Noah, only 3 years older, but already running a successful company, had taken one look at her portfolio and hired her on the spot. What started as a professional relationship had quickly evolved into something deeper. They became friends, real friends. The kind who stayed late at the office discussing everything from business strategies to their favorite childhood memories. Noah taught her about entrepreneurship while she showed him how to connect with people on a human level. Together, it built the company from a small startup into a thriving business with over 200 employees. The morning ritual? Every Monday morning for the past 3 years, Noah had developed a habit that made Jasmine's heart flutter, though she would never admit it. He would stop at Sweetwater Bakery, a small family-owned shop on the other side of Seattle, to pick up her favorite almond croissant and a vanilla latte with an extra shot of espresso. This particular Monday, Jasmine arrived at her desk in the sleek downtown office to find the familiar white paper bag waiting for her, along with a note in Noah's handwriting that read simply, "Fuel for conquering the week ahead." Normal bosses just send emails, teased Brianna, Jasmine's assistant, who had witnessed this ritual countless times. They don't drive 40 minutes out of their way for pastries. Jasmine felt her cheeks warm. He's just thoughtful. We're friends, right? Friends? Brianna's knowing smile said everything her words did not. Before Jasmine could respond, Noah appeared in her doorway. At 32, he had the kind of presence that made people stop and pay attention. Today he wore dark jeans and a navy sweater that made his blue eyes stand out even more than usual. His light brown hair was slightly messy, as if he had run his fingers through it multiple times during his morning commute. "Good morning," he said, his voice carrying that warm tone he reserved just for her. "Did you get the croissant?" "I did." "Thank you, Noah. You really don't have to do this every week."
"I know I don't have to."
He leaned against the doorframe, crossing his arms. "I want to. Besides, I had a meeting in that area."
Yes.
Jasmine raised an eyebrow. She had been managing his calendar for years. What meeting? Noah's ears turned slightly pink, a tell she had learned to recognize. A very important meeting about pastry quality control. "Noah Bennett, you're a terrible liar. You're too smart for your own good." The smile was sheepish but genuine. "Fine. I drove there specifically for your croissant. Happy now?" The confession hung in the air between them, charged with an emotion neither seemed ready to name. Jasmine's heart did that annoying flip it always did when Noah looked at her like she mattered more than anything else in the world. The unexpected visitor there. The moment was interrupted by Brianna's voice over the intercom. "Jasmine, there's a Ryan Walsh here to see you. He says it's important." Jasmine frowned. Ryan Walsh was the CEO of their biggest competitor, Tech Vision Solutions. "What does he want?" "Only one way to find out," Noah said. But his easy demeanor had shifted into something more guarded. Ryan Walsh entered her office 5 minutes later, looking every bit the successful executive in his expensive suit. He was handsome in a polished way, with dark hair styled perfectly, and a confident smile that probably charmed investors regularly. "Jasmine Reed," Ryan said, extending his hand. "I've heard incredible things about you. Your campaign for the Anderson account was brilliant." "Thank you." Jasmine shook his hand professionally, aware of Noah's presence still in the doorway. "What brings you here, Mr. Walsh?" "Please, call me Ryan. I'll get straight to the point. I want you to come work for Tech Vision. Name your salary. I'll double whatever you're making now, plus equity in a leadership position creating our entire marketing division." The offer was stunning. Jasmine felt her breath catch. It was the kind of opportunity most people only dreamed about. "That's a generous offer," she managed to say. "You're a generous talent," Ryan replied smoothly. "Think about it. Here's my card. Let's have dinner this week to discuss details. How about Friday at 7? Before Jasmine could respond, Noah stepped fully into the room. "Jasmine has a prior commitment on Friday." Ryan's eyes moved between them, assessing. "Does she?" I don't recall Jasmine mentioning any plans, because I was just about to, Noah said, his voice calm but firm. We have a company event that requires her presence. Jasmine knew for a fact they had no such event. But something in Noah's expression stopped her from contradicting him. Ryan smiled knowingly. I see. Well, perhaps another time then. The offer stands. Jasmine, call me when you're ready to discuss your future. After Ryan left, silence filled the office. Noah stood with his hands in his pockets, staring out the window at the Seattle skyline. We don't have a company event on Friday, Jasmine said quietly. I know. Then why did you lie? Noah turned to face her, and the raw emotion in his eyes made her breath catch. Because the thought of you having dinner with him makes me want to punch something, which is completely irrational and unprofessional. But there it is. It's Noah. I know. You're an adult. You can have dinner with whoever you want. I have no right to interfere with your career decisions or your personal life. I'm your boss, your friend, and I should be supportive of any opportunity that comes your way. He ran his hand through his hair, making it stand up even more. But I can't. I can't be supportive of you leaving. And I definitely can't be okay with that guy looking at you like you're the best thing he's ever seen. Jasmine's heart was pounding so hard she was sure he could hear it. How was he looking at me? The same way I've been looking at you for 6 years? The confession escaped before Noah could stop it. His eyes widened slightly, as if surprised by his own honesty. The air between them crackled with electricity. Jasmine took a step toward him. Noah, what are you saying? The interrupted moment before he could answer, his phone rang loudly, shattering the moment. Noah glanced at the screen and grimaced. It's the investors from Tokyo. I have to take this. Of course. Jasmine tried to hide her disappointment. Noah walked toward the door, then paused and turned back. Jasmine, about what I said. We'll talk later, she promised, even though her entire world felt like it had tilted on its axis after he left. Jasmine sank into her chair, her mind racing. Had Noah just implied what she thought he had? After 6 years of friendship, of carefully maintained professional boundaries, of secret glances and almost moments, had he finally admitted there was something more? She picked up Ryan's business card, studying it. The offer was incredible, possibly the best career move she could make. But as she thought about leaving this office, leaving the company she had helped build, leaving Noah, her chest tightened painfully. When had her boss become so much more than just her boss? When had her best friend become the person she thought about first thing in the morning and last thing at night? When had Noah Bennett become the measure by which she judged every other man? Her phone buzzed with a text from her sister, Monica. Lunch today? I need details about this boss of yours that Mom keeps asking about. Jasmine smiled despite her confusion. Her family had been asking about Noah for years, sensing something she had been too scared to admit. Maybe it was time to finally be honest. With them and with herself, the afternoon that changed the game, the afternoon brought another complication. Noah had scheduled a meeting with the entire leadership team to discuss their quarterly results. Jasmine sat across from him in the conference room, hyper-aware of every glance, every word, every small gesture. Jasmine's marketing campaign brought in 42 new clients this quarter. Noah announced to the room, his eyes finding hers. Her strategy for the Anderson account alone increased our revenue by 30%. The pride in his voice was unmistakable. Around the table, their colleagues nodded and murmured approval. But Jasmine could only focus on the way Noah looked at her, like she had personally handed him the stars. Great work, Jasmine, said Thomas, their CFO. Though I hear you might be considering other opportunities? The room fell silent. Jasmine's eyes widened. How had word gotten out so fast? Ryan Walsh's assistant called our reception desk asking for you this morning, Thomas explained. Word travels fast in our industry. All eyes turned to Jasmine, but she found herself looking only at Noah. His expression was carefully neutral, but she could see the tension in his shoulders, the tightness around his mouth. I haven't made any decisions, Jasmine said carefully. It was just a conversation. Of course, Thomas said quickly. But if there's anything we can do to make you want to stay, I hope you'll let us know. You're valuable to this company, After the meeting ended and everyone filed out, Noah lingered behind. He closed the conference room door and turned to face her. "Are you seriously considering his offer?" he asked quietly. "I don't know," Jasmine admitted. "It's a good opportunity, Noah. I know it is." He moved closer, close enough that she could smell his cologne, that familiar scent that always made her feel safe. "But I'm asking you not to go." "Why?" The question came out as a whisper. "'Cause his company needs you. The team needs you." Paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was rough with emotion. "Because I need you, Jasmine. I know I have no right to ask. I know I'm being selfish. But the thought of coming to work every day and not seeing you here, not having coffee with you in the morning, not hearing your laugh in the hallway, it's unbearable." Jasmine's breath caught. "Noah, we're friends. We'll always be friends, even if I take another job." "Is that what we are?" He took another step closer. "Just friends?" "I thought so." Her voice trembled. "What else would we be?" Noah looked at her for a long moment, and she could see the war happening behind his eyes. The boss who needed to maintain professionalism versus the man who clearly felt something more. "I should let you get back to work," he finally said, stepping back. The distance felt like miles. As he walked toward the door, Jasmine heard herself say, "Ryan asked me to dinner on Friday. I think I'm going to say yes." Noah stopped, his hand on the door handle. When he turned back, the look on his face was something between hurt and determination. "Then I hope you have a wonderful time," he said, his voice carefully controlled. "You deserve to be happy, Jasmine. Even if it's not with me." The words hung in the air long after he left, and Jasmine realized with startling clarity that everything had just changed between them. The careful balance they had maintained for 6 years was crumbling, and she had no idea how to stop it, or if she even wanted to. The call that changed everything Friday arrived with the weight of unspoken words hanging between. Jasmine and Noah, they had barely talked since Monday, communicating mostly through emails and brief, professional exchanges that felt wrong after 6 years of easy friendship. Jasmine had confirmed dinner with Ryan, telling herself it was just a business meeting. Even though she knew it was more than that, she was touching up her makeup in the office bathroom, preparing to leave for her dinner, when her phone rang. Her sister Monica's name flashed on the screen, but the voice that answered wasn't Monica's. "Jasmine, it's me." Monica's voice was shaking. "I'm at Seattle General Hospital." "It's Mom." She collapsed at work. "The doctors are running tests, but they think it might be her heart." The world stopped. Jasmine's hand gripped the phone so hard her knuckles turned white. "What, is she okay?" "I'm coming right now." "Please hurry. She's asking for you." Jasmine grabbed her purse with trembling hands, her dinner with Ryan completely forgotten. She rushed out of the bathroom and nearly collided with Brianna in the hallway. "Jasmine, what's wrong?" "You're white as a sheet. My mom. Hospital. I have to go." The words came out jumbled and panicked. "Let me call you a car," Brianna said, immediately pulling out her phone. "In no time. I'll drive." But when Jasmine pulled out her keys, her hands were shaking so badly she dropped them twice. "Jasmine." Noah's voice came from behind her. He must have heard the commotion. "What happened?" "My mother. She's in the hospital. I need to go." Tears were streaming down her face now, and she couldn't make them stop. Noah didn't hesitate. He gently took the keys from her trembling hands. "I'm driving. Let's go." "Noah, you don't have to. You probably have plans. Okay. Nothing is more important than this. Than you." He placed a steady hand on her back, guiding her toward the elevator. "Come on." The longest drive, the drive to Seattle General, felt endless. Traffic crawled through downtown, and every red light seemed to last forever. Jasmine sat in the passenger seat, her leg bouncing anxiously, her hands twisting together in her lap. She's going to be okay," Noah said softly, reaching over to cover her hands with one of his. "Your mom is strong. Remember when she beat pneumonia 2 years ago? The doctors said she had the constitution of someone 20 years younger, but her heart, Noah. What if it's serious? What if I lose her?" Jasmine's voice broke on the last word. Noah pulled the car over to the side of the road, ignoring the honking behind them. He turned to face her fully, taking both her hands in his. "Look at me," he said gently. When she did, his blue eyes were filled with such warmth and concern that fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "Whatever happens, you're not going through this alone. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. Do you understand?" Jasmine nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. "Your mother's going to be fine," Noah continued, wiping her tears with his thumb. "And even if the news isn't what we want to hear, we'll deal with it together. You, me, Monica, your whole family. You're not alone in this, Jasmine. You'll never be alone while I'm around." The conviction in his voice, the absolute certainty that he would be there for her no matter what, broke something open in Jasmine's chest. This wasn't just friendship. This was love, the kind of deep, abiding love that showed up in hospital waiting rooms and held you together when you were falling apart. "Thank you," she whispered. "For being here, for being you." Noah pressed a kiss to her forehead, lingering there for a moment. "There's nowhere else I'd rather be." The waiting room, they found Monica in the third-floor waiting room, her eyes red from crying. She stood up when she saw them, and Jasmine rushed into her arms. "Any news?" Jasmine asked. "Not yet. They're still running tests. Dad's in there with her now." Monica noticed Noah for the first time. "You must be the famous Noah. Mom talks about you constantly." "I wish we were meeting under better circumstances," Noah said, shaking her hand. "How are you holding up?" "Better now that Jasmine's here." Monica glanced between them, taking in their clasped hands and the way Noah stood protectively close to her sister. "Thank you for bringing her, of course." The next 3 hours were torture. Jasmine paced the waiting room, unable to sit still. Noah brought her coffee that she didn't drink and a sandwich she couldn't eat. He didn't try to make small talk or offer empty platitudes. He simply stayed close, a solid presence in the chaos of her fear. When her father, Robert, finally emerged from the examination rooms, his face was drawn but relieved. "She's stable," he announced, and Jasmine felt her knees go weak. Noah's arm immediately went around her waist, holding her up. It was a cardiac episode brought on by stress and overwork. The doctors want to keep her overnight for observation, but they think she'll make a full recovery with proper rest and medication. Jasmine burst into tears of relief, and this time she turned directly into Noah's chest. He wrapped his arms around her, one hand cradling the back of her head while she sobbed against his shoulder. "It's okay," he murmured into her hair. "She's okay. Everything's going to be okay." Robert watched this exchange with interest, then looked at Monica with raised eyebrows. Monica just shrugged and smiled. The confession after Jasmine had calmed down and gone in to see her mother. Monica cornered Noah in the hallway with 2 cups of truly terrible vending machine coffee. "So," she said, handing him one. "You're the Noah." "I suppose I am," Noah replied carefully. "My sister has been talking about you for 6 years. At first it was all business, you know. My boss did this. My boss said that. But somewhere along the way, it changed. She started saying your name differently, with this little smile that she probably didn't even realize she had." Noah's heart hammered in his chest. "Monica, I don't know if I should be hearing this, but you absolutely should be hearing this." Monica's expression turned serious. "Because I watched my sister fall in love with you slowly over the years, and I watched her convince herself that it was just friendship because she was too scared to risk what you had. But tonight, seeing you drop everything to be here, seeing the way you look at her like she's your whole world, I think you feel the same way." "I do," Noah admitted, the confession escaping before he could stop it. "God help me, I'm completely in love with her." "I have been for years, then. Why haven't you told her?" "Because I'm her boss. Because she's my best friend. Because what if I tell her and she doesn't feel the same way? What if I ruin the most important relationship in my life?" Monica smiled gently. "And what if you tell her and you get everything you've ever wanted? What if she's been waiting for you to be brave enough to take the chance?" Before Noah could respond, Jasmine emerged from her mother's room. Her eyes were still red but calmer now. "She wants to see you," she told Noah. "Me." He was surprised. She said, and I quote, "Send in that handsome young man who makes my daughter smile like a fool." Jasmine's cheeks turned pink. Noah found Catherine Reed sitting up in her hospital bed, looking remarkably good for someone who had just had a cardiac episode. She was a smaller, older version of Jasmine, with the same warm brown eyes and kind smile. "Noah Bennett," she said warmly. "Finally, we meet properly. Though I wish it weren't in a hospital, Mrs. Reed. I'm so glad you're feeling better. Call me Catherine, please. Sit down." She patted the chair beside her bed. "I wanted to thank you for taking care of my daughter tonight. Robert told me how you brought her here, how you stayed with her." "It was nothing," Noah said. "It was everything," Catherine corrected gently. "Noah, I'm 60 years old, and I've learned to recognize love when I see it. The way you look at Jasmine, that's love. Real, deep, lasting love." Noah's carefully maintained composure cracked. "I do love her. So much it scares me sometimes. Does she know? I think she's starting to figure it out. But it's complicated. I'm her boss, her friend, and I don't want to put her in a difficult position." Catherine reached over and patted his hand. "Let me tell you something about my daughter. She's been waiting for you to make a move for a very long time. She's scared too. Scared of losing your friendship. Scared of the professional complications. But mostly, she's scared that you don't feel the same way she does." "How can she not know?" Noah asked, his voice rough with emotion. "I drive across the city for her favorite pastry. I memorize her coffee order. I can't concentrate in meetings when she's in the room. Everyone can see it except apparently the two people it actually involves." Catherine laughed softly. "That's how love works sometimes. We're so close to it we can't see what's right in front of us. Promise me something, Noah. Anything. Promise me you'll tell her. Life is too short and too unpredictable to waste time being scared. I learned that lesson today. Don't wait for a crisis to realize what matters. Tell her how you feel. What if she doesn't feel the same way?" "She does," Catherine said with absolute certainty. "But even if she didn't, wouldn't you rather know for sure than spend the rest of your life wondering what might have been?" The almost kiss it was nearly midnight when they finally left the hospital. Catherine was sleeping peacefully, stable and monitored, with Robert keeping watch. Monica had gone home to her family. Promising to return in the morning, Noah drove Jasmine home through the quiet Seattle streets. Rain had started to fall, typical for the Pacific Northwest, drumming softly against the windshield. "Thank you," Jasmine said quietly, breaking the comfortable silence. "For everything tonight. I don't know what I would have done without you." "Never have to do anything without me," Noah replied. "I meant what I said earlier. I'm here, Jasmine, always." When they pulled up outside her apartment building, neither of them moved to get out of the car. The rain created a cocoon around them, making the rest of the world feel very far away. "I missed my dinner with Ryan," Jasmine said suddenly. "I'm sorry." "I'm sure you can reschedule." "I don't want to reschedule." She turned to look at him in the dim light from the street lamps. "I spent the whole week dreading that dinner, telling myself it was just business. But it wasn't. It was asking me out, and I said yes because I was trying to make you jealous." Noah's breath caught. "Jasmine, let me finish," she interrupted. "I said yes because I've been in love with you for so long that I've forgotten what it feels like not to love you. And tonight, watching you show up for me without hesitation, watching you care for my family like they're your own, it made me realize something. I don't want to work for your competitor. I don't want to go to dinner with other men. I don't want any of that because all I've ever wanted is you." The confession hung in the air between them. It's vulnerable and honest and terrifying. Noah unbuckled his seatbelt and turned to face her fully. "I've been in love with you since the day you gave me that photo album for my birthday 4 years ago. Do you remember what you wrote inside?" "I wrote that every empire needs someone who sees the people behind the prophet," Jasmine said softly. "You wrote that I'd built something amazing. But the most amazing thing about it was watching me care about the people in it. You saw me, Jasmine? The real me, not just the CEO or the boss. And in that moment, I knew I was done for. I knew I'd never love anyone the way I loved you." Tears spilled down Jasmine's cheeks. "Why didn't you say anything?" "Because I was terrified. Because you were my employee and my best friend, and I couldn't risk losing either of those things. But tonight, almost losing you, even just to the fear and worry about your mother, Made me realize that the biggest risk isn't telling you how I feel. The biggest risk is never telling you at all. He reached out and cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs brushing away her tears. I love you, Jasmine Reed. I'm completely, hopelessly, eternally in love with you. And I know this is complicated, and I know we have things to figure out, but I can't keep pretending anymore. I can't keep acting like you're just my friend when you're so much more than that. Noah, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Kiss me. Please just kiss me. He leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to change her mind. But Jasmine met him halfway, and when their lips finally touched, it was like coming home after a long journey. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, tasting like tears and relief and 6 years of waiting. Then it deepened, becoming something more urgent, more desperate. 6 years of longing poured into one perfect moment. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing heavily, Noah rested his forehead against hers. Come upstairs with me, Jasmine whispered. Are you sure? It's been an emotional night. I don't want you to regret anything. The only thing I regret is that we waited so long. She kissed him again, softer this time. Come upstairs. Stay with me. Let me wake up tomorrow knowing this is real. The morning after Jasmine woke to sunlight streaming through her bedroom. Curtains and the unfamiliar but wonderful sensation of Noah's arm draped across her waist. For a moment, she lay perfectly still, afraid that moving might somehow break the spell and reveal that last night had been a dream. But then Noah stirred behind her, pulling her closer against his chest, and she knew it was real. All of it had been beautifully, impossibly real. Good morning. His voice was rough with sleep in her ear, sending shivers down her spine. She turned in his arms to face him. His hair was adorably messy, his eyes still heavy with sleep, and he had never looked more handsome. Good morning, she replied, unable to stop smiling. Any regrets? He asked, though there was vulnerability in his eyes that suggested he was genuinely worried about her answer. Only that we didn't do this 6 years ago, she kissed him softly. What about you? My only regret is every single day I wasted not being able to do this, he demonstrated by kissing her more thoroughly. Until they were both breathless and laughing, an hour later. They were in Jasmine's kitchen making breakfast together. Noah had borrowed one of her oversized t-shirts that was comically tight on his broader frame. And Jasmine wore his dress shirt from the night before. They moved around each other with the ease of people who had been friends for years. But now with added touches, stolen kisses, and the kind of happiness that radiated from both of them. We need to talk about Monday, Noah said as he flipped pancakes. About how we handle this at work. I know. Jasmine poured coffee into 2 mugs. We need to be professional. Set clear boundaries about work and personal life. Maybe we should talk to HR, make sure everything is above board. I'll transfer your reporting structure, Noah said immediately. You can report directly to Thomas. That way there's no conflict of interest, no perception of favoritism. You've been thinking about this? I've been thinking about everything, he admitted. For years, actually. I've played out every scenario in my head 1,000 times. How we'd tell people, how we'd make it work, what we'd do if the board had concerns. I've been planning for this without ever believing it might actually happen. Jasmine set down the coffee pot and walked over to him, wrapping her arms around his waist from behind. We'll figure it out together. Whatever comes, we'll handle it, just like we've handled everything else for the past 6 years. Noah turned in her embrace and kissed the top of her head. Together, he agreed. Facing the office, Monday morning arrived with equal parts excitement and anxiety. Noah and Jasmine had spent the entire weekend together, barely leaving her apartment except for visits to the hospital to check on Catherine, who was recovering beautifully and whose knowing smile suggested. She was fully aware of what had developed between them. They had decided to arrive at the office separately. At least for today, while they figured out how to handle the announcement. Noah went in early, while Jasmine timed her arrival for the usual 8:15, the moment she stepped off the elevator. Brianna's eyes widened. Oh my God, Brianna said immediately. Something happened. You're glowing. What happened? Nothing happened, Jasmine tried to say, but her smile betrayed her. Jasmine read, "We've worked together for 3 years. I know all your faces, and this is definitely your something amazing happened face, Bill." Before Jasmine could respond, Noah's office door opened and he stepped out. Their eyes met across the open floor plan, and despite their best intentions to remain professional, they both smiled, that soft, private smile that people in love share. Brianna gasped, "Oh my God, you and Noah? Finally, it's about time." "Do you know how long we've all been waiting for this?" "We?" Jasmine asked faintly. "The entire office has had a betting pool going for 2 years about when you two would finally get together. Carmen in reception is going to be so happy. She had money on this month." By lunchtime, the news had spread through the office like wildfire. To Jasmine's surprise and relief, the reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Their colleagues were genuinely happy for them, with several people admitting they had been rooting for them for years. "See?" Noah said, when they finally stole a moment alone in his office. "I told you people would be supportive. You were right." Jasmine smiled, leaning against his desk, "Though I'm still mortified that there was a betting pool. I'm just glad I don't have to hide how I feel about you anymore." He crossed the room to stand in front of her. "Do you know how hard it's been to maintain professional distance when all I wanted to do was this?" He leaned in to kiss her, but Jasmine put a hand on his chest, stopping him. "We're at work," she reminded him gently. "We need to set boundaries, remember? No kissing in the office. No public displays of affection. We keep work and personal separate." Noah groaned, but stepped back. "You're right. Professional boundaries. I can do that." Paused. "For how many more hours until I can take you home?" Jasmine laughed. 6. You can survive 6 more hours." "Barely," he muttered, making her laugh again, meeting the family. The real test came 2 weeks later when Catherine was released from the hospital and insisted on having a family dinner to celebrate. She made it clear that Noah was expected to attend, not as Jasmine's boss, but as her boyfriend. "I'm terrified," Noah admitted to Jasmine as they drove to her parents' house in the suburbs. "What if they don't think I'm good enough for you?" "Noah, you met my mom in the hospital, and she already adores you." "That was different. I was just being supportive. Now I'm the guy dating their daughter. Your dad is going to ask me about my intentions." Jasmine tried not to laugh at how genuinely worried he looked. Noah Bennett, who negotiated multi-million-dollar deals without breaking a sweat, was nervous about dinner with her family. "My father is a retired accountant who loves gardening and terrible puns," Jasmine said. "He's not going to grill you." She was wrong. Robert Reed opened the door with a warm smile, welcomed them inside, and within 5 minutes had maneuvered Noah onto the back porch to show him the tomato plants. Jasmine watched through the kitchen window as her father proceeded to have what was clearly a serious conversation with Noah. "Don't worry," Catherine said, coming to stand beside her. "Your father just wants to make sure Noah's serious about you. He's been waiting a long time to have this conversation. Mom, Noah and I have only been officially together for 2 weeks. Honey, that man has been in love with you for years. We all knew it. Your father just wants to hear Noah say it himself." 15 minutes later, the men returned. Robert was smiling, and Noah looked relieved. "Everything okay?" Jasmine asked nervously. "Everything's perfect," Robert said, clapping Noah on the shoulder. "I like this one, Jazzy. He's got good intentions and terrible taste in baseball teams, but nobody's perfect." Dinner was a chaotic, warm affair with Jasmine's family. Monica was there with her husband Greg and their 2 young children, who immediately adopted Noah as their new favorite person. Her younger brother Daniel drove up from Portland with his girlfriend Kelsey. The table was crowded, loud, full of laughter and overlapping conversations, and the kind of love that made a house feel like a home. Noah fit in seamlessly, helping Catherine in the kitchen, debating politics with Daniel, letting Monica's kids climb all over him during dessert. Jasmine watched him from across the table, her heart so full it felt like it might burst. This was what she had been missing, she realized. Not just romantic love, but this sense of completeness, of having someone who belonged in every part of her life. Noah wasn't just her boyfriend. He was family. Later, as they were leaving, Catherine pulled Jasmine aside. "That's a good man," she said, nodding toward Noah, who was being given elaborate handshake demonstrations by Monica's 6-year-old son. "Don't let him go." "I won't," Jasmine promised. "I love him, Mom. I really, really love him. And he loves you just as much. I can see it every time he looks at you." Catherine hugged her tightly. "I'm so happy for you both." The proposal's 6 months passed in a blur of happiness. Noah and Jasmine navigated their new relationship dynamic with surprising ease. At work, they maintained professional boundaries, with Jasmine now reporting to Thomas as planned. Outside of work, they were inseparable. They established routines. Sunday morning coffee at Sweetwater Bakery. Tuesday night cooking experiments in Noah's kitchen. Friday date nights that ranged from fancy restaurants to staying in watching movies. They traveled together, taking a 2-week vacation to Italy, where they got lost in Venice, ate too much pasta in Rome, and fell even more deeply in love in Florence. Noah met Jasmine's extended family at Thanksgiving, where 3 of her cousins grilled him about his intentions, and her grandmother declared him a keeper. Jasmine spent Christmas with Noah's family in Boston, where his mother pulled her aside to say she had never seen her son so happy. Everything was perfect. Almost too perfect. Jasmine sometimes worried that something would go wrong, that she would wake up and discover it had all been a dream. But then Noah would smile at her across a crowded room, or leave her favorite pastry on her desk, even though he no longer had to, or pull her close in the middle of the night, and she would remember that this was real. All of it was real. On a rainy Saturday in February, Noah surprised her with a day trip to the San Juan Islands. They took the ferry across, the sky gray and moody, the water choppy. Most people would have called it terrible weather for an excursion, but Jasmine loved it. There was something magical about the Pacific Northwest in winter. They hiked through Limekill Point State Park, watching for whales that didn't appear, laughing as the rain soaked through their jackets. When they reached the lighthouse overlooking the churning waters of the strait, Noah stopped. "I want to show you something," he said. Pulling out his phone, he showed her a photo of a house. A beautiful craftsman-style home with a wraparound porch and a view of the water. "It's for sale," he said. "I was thinking of buying it." "It's beautiful," Jasmine said. "Are you thinking of moving to the islands?" "Not exactly." Noah took a deep breath. "I was thinking maybe we could move here, together, build a life here, away from the city on weekends. A place just for us." Jasmine's heart started beating faster. "Together?" "I know it's fast," Noah said quickly. "And I know we've only been officially together for 6 months. But Jasmine, I've loved you for 6 years. I know you're the person I want to wake up next to every morning for the rest of my life. I know you're the person I want to build a life with, in the city, and on this island, and everywhere in between." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Jasmine's breath caught. "I'm not great with words when it comes to feelings," Noah continued, his voice rough with emotion. "I'm better with spreadsheets and business plans and practical things, but with you, I want to be better. I want to be the man who tells you every day how much you mean to me. I want to be the person who brings you coffee across the city and makes you laugh when you're sad, and holds you together when things fall apart." He opened the box, revealing a stunning diamond ring that caught the gray light and sparkled like a promise. "Jasmine Reed, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life loving you the way you deserve to be loved?" Tears streamed down Jasmine's face, mixing with the rain. "Yes," she said, her voice breaking. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." Noah slipped the ring onto her finger with shaking hands. Then he was kissing her, and they were both crying and laughing at the same time. Around them, the rain fell harder, but neither of them noticed or cared. The beginning of forever, the news of their engagement spread through the office on Monday morning, even faster than news of their relationship had. Noah had tried to keep it quiet, wanting to tell people in person. But when Jasmine walked in wearing the ring, Brianna spotted it immediately and screamed loud enough to wake the entire building. "You're engaged? When? How? Tell me everything." By lunch, there were champagne bottles being opened in the break room and a banner that someone had hastily made reading "Congratulations, Jasmine and Noah," was chaotic and embarrassing and absolutely perfect. So much for a quiet announcement, Noah said, finding Jasmine in her office later that afternoon. I don't mind, Jasmine replied, looking down at her ring with a smile. I want everyone to know. I want to shout it from the rooftops that I'm marrying my best friend. Best friend and boss, Noah corrected with a grin. Former boss, Jasmine reminded him. I report to Thomas now, remember? Right. Former boss, current fiancé, future husband. He tried out the words. I really like the sound of that last one. Me too. Jasmine stood and walked around her desk to him. Despite their professional boundaries rule, she wrapped her arms around his neck. I love you, Noah Bennett. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for waiting all those years. Thank you for being exactly who you are. I love you too, he said softly, pulling her close. And I'd wait 1,000 more years if I had to. You're worth every second. They stood there in her office, wrapped in each other's arms, thinking about the journey that had brought them to this moment. 6 years of friendship, of late nights at the office, of coffee runs and hospital visits and almost kisses. 6 years of loving each other from a distance, too scared to risk what they had for the possibility of something more, but they had taken the risk, and it had been worth it. It had been worth everything. What are you thinking about? Noah asked, noticing the faraway look in her eyes. Thinking about how lucky I am, Jasmine said. How lucky we both are. We gotta be friends first, to really know each other before we became this. Not everyone gets that. No, they don't. Noah kissed her forehead. We're pretty lucky. So what happens now? Now, Noah smiled. Now we plan a wedding, buy that house on the island, and start building the life we've both been dreaming about. Now we get our happily ever after. I like the sound of that. Me too. As the sun set over Seattle, casting golden light through the office windows, Jasmine and Noah stood together, planning their future. A future that included a wedding on the beach, a house overlooking the water, and years of coffee runs, late-night conversations, and the kind of love that starts as friendship and grows into something eternal. They had waited 6 years to get to this moment, but as they stood there together, they both knew that every single second of waiting had been leading them exactly where they needed to be. Home. Together. Finally, epilogue. 1 year later. House on San Juan Island was finished just in time for their first anniversary. They spent the weekend there, away from the city, away from work, just the two of them in their dream home. On Sunday morning, Jasmine woke to the smell of coffee and almond croissants. She found Noah on the porch, looking out at the water, 2 mugs and a white paper bag beside him. Some things never change, she said, wrapping her arms around him from behind. Why would I change perfection? Noah replied, turning to kiss her. Happy anniversary, Mrs. Bennett. Happy anniversary, Mr. Bennett. They sat together on the porch swing, drinking coffee and eating croissants as the sun rose over the water. In the distance, they could see a pod of orcas passing through the strait, their fins cutting through the surface like promises. Do you ever think about how different our lives could have been? Jasmine asked. What would have happened if I'd taken that job with Ryan? If we'd never admitted how we felt? Sometimes, Noah admitted. But then I remember that we found our way to each other anyway. Maybe it would have taken longer. Maybe we would have had to learn some harder lessons. But I believe we were always going to end up here, together. You really think so? I know so. He pulled her closer, and she rested her head on his shoulder. Some people are just meant to be, Jasmine. We're one of those stories. And as they sat there, watching the world wake up around them in the home they had built together, with a love that had started as friendship and grown into something infinite, they both knew he was right. They were exactly where they were always meant to be. Together. Forever, finally.